going on, guys? Wait a little bit for everyone to get here. Do a quick little halftime show. See what we missed this morning. All right. Um, so we obviously dropped lower this morning, and just to show you, all right, let me get this right here. You could just to show you real quick where the next level is going to be. It would be the September lows, which would be somewhere around 630 for SPY, about 640 right now, another 10 points to show you what that looks like. It would be down to here. So we broke this localized level. If you have a hard time on Instagram looking at this, you can always go to YouTube and see the entire chart. It's probably hard just to see on your phone. But you can see that we have broke this support, and the next level will be 630. The interesting thing in the short term that I was going over with my group this morning is that you can see that this 640 level right here is a pretty big level. I think by about, yeah, we have about 106 million calls to about 2 million puts that would go off at this area. So this is basically a put wall. This acts as a support. This is 640, okay? So now if you were to go back, right, that's exactly where we are. Exactly. So if you go back to the daily 15-minute time frame, you're going to see that we are just going sideways again. So every day, the price action is not good. We just go sideways every day. But what's interesting is that we either bounce up or bounce down, every single day. You can see we have buying pressure at least under this 640 level. But again, the next level for the entire market is going to be this level right here, the September lows over here. So that's considerably the next level. So, but you have to look at it like this, right? That these are the best times. I would rather want the market to go a lot lower very quickly, because then we'll get an amazing rally back up again. And those are the best times to, be in cash, to buy stocks that you've wanted to buy for a while. I mean, look at Meta, for example. You guys are about to get a 40% discount on Meta pretty soon, you know? Like, think about how amazing that's going to be. Actually, from the nearest highs, it's going to be probably somewhere around a 60% discount. What's interesting to me is that for some reason, the stock market is the only market in the world where people are hesitant to buy at a discount. You can't find another market in the world where people are that hesitant to buy at a discount. Because like Meta will go up to 1,000 at some point. So buying it at 500 would seem like a no-brainer type of idea, right? So I'm kind of rooting for these to go down because this is a pretty solid level for Meta right here, right? You can see that went over this yesterday too with you guys, but we're still moving down there pretty quickly. Um, so we'll get to this level about somewhere around 500 or so. And then I think it's going to be good to start averaging in at that price because eventually if it goes back to all-time highs again, that's 60%. And let's say it goes up to 1,000 within the next, I don't know, 18 months, that would be 100%. There's your trade. Boom. You know, not that hard. Microsoft is another one that people keep, sorry. Microsoft is another one that people keep asking me about. Same situation here, right? Same exact situation. If you guys have any requests, I'll also go over those as well. But we're about at another similar level down here at about 350. And that's why I told people I'm not buying it at 380 something. Um, you know, because here's an easy way to look at it. Find the sector that you're interested in. If it's technology, fine, right? There's a sector. XLK is the um, sector ETF, right? We're in free fall at the moment, right? So there's no reason why I would buy Meta or Microsoft as it's falling. I mean, you can, sure. You could take little stabs at it. You could scale in. I think the thing, just working as a financial advisor with people uh, since 2012, I've realized that for some reason people are really indoctrinated into whenever they come into money, they want to invest all of it like right away, and it's really like at a big disadvantage to do that, because if you put it if once people see money's available in their account, it's like, great, what can we buy? And it's like, wait a second, let's scale into something. If you put some money in for a week and then you like it later, next week you could put some more money in. But a lot of people put all their money into one thing and then they regret it a week later. So let's take a look at Tesla. We're coming down to a pretty good level as well. Uh, yeah, Microsoft would be huge. Yeah, for sure. Microsoft, D Dog, Snow, all getting super tempting. Once we see a change of market structure, it'll be huge. Oh, for sure. And then Tesla, it's to no one's surprise, this will go back to all-time highs at some point. Or just remember something. All of these top Mag 7 companies, they all take turns, right? It's not like, you know, every year, watching these, they all take turns going to all-time highs again. So buying them at their lowest levels is a good thing, right? The people who bought Meta in 2022 were up like 300% because they bought it at its lowest point. Um, and so yeah, if you want a little bit more safety or security, maybe Google or Apple might be a better, thing for you. But at some point, Tesla will be higher than this. They're making an entire chip factory just for themselves at this point for all their robots and needs and everything. And they'll probably do a reverse merger with SpaceX at some point. So, um, also, I just wanted to go over something real quick. So, I did a video on this yesterday, and I think a lot of people didn't understand what I was saying. VCX is a fund, right? Where you can have ownership of Anthropic. Um, let me show you Anthropic, Databricks, OpenAI, Anduril, SpaceX. And a lot of people didn't understand, number one, because it went up way too fast. And I was like, yeah, I'm not buying it right now. I would scale into this over time. And then people were like, well, why don't you buy DXYZ, which is the same thing? Um, but at a better multiple, at a better multiple nav. Um, but here's the thing, right? I already own it. I already own DXYZ, right? And this just has a lot of SpaceX already in it. And so they have it at different levels. So for me, I wanted to create an account where I have DXYZ, I have VCX, and RVI, which is a new Robinhood venture fund. I just wanted to have an account where I have all three of these funds that have pre-IPOs. And I'm not doing this to trade it. I'm doing this to keep it for the next like 5 years. Not everything I do is a quick trade. Actually, very few things I do are very quick trades. I only like to set up long-term trades at really good levels, high probability levels, or really high probability swing trades. And every now and then I'll throw in a day trade for fun, if it's really screaming, high probability for me to do it. Chevron or oil stocks options bought after Maduro now exploded because of Iran. Yeah, I mean, I made so many videos on oil stocks. I think every day in my Instagram stories, I kept doing the same list, like oil, energy, military, like every day for like 3 months straight. So I wasn't really sure how else to say it after a while, you know. I still have some Chevron and some Exxon, but but I took some profits on the way up. But the entire year, what's interesting is that you could have a whole administration of the United States tell you we are taking over a whole country and we're going to run their oil operation. And people will still not buy the number one company that already operates in Venezuela. It's so strange to me. No matter how many times I kept saying it, and I would just put the same chart every day of it going up. But I think the psychology though for some people is they feel like they're too late no matter what happens because we were up 8%, but then, just like any pump, we're going to come back down and then we're going to go back up again. So, but as long as it stays above the 20 moving average, you're good, you know. But sometimes when you have something that's super easy or super high probability, you know, like I did options on XLE, which is the entire oil industry. And so every little mini breakout could just play options on this. So, um, in theory, none of this is that hard. It's just things run in cycles. And we're about to come into another cycle pretty soon. And that's why it's good right now to be cash heavy, right? You don't want to sell anything while it's low because what's the point? Like, why? Like, people are asking me if they should sell Meta, and I was like, why? For what reason? You want to sell it while it's low? Why? It makes no sense to me. You're supposed to buy low, you know? But, anyways, you could see IWM here. I'm going to take off all my drawings so it might be a little easier. Um, and this looks like a loop to go lower, to be honest. This is a floating lower doji candle, and we can then come back to this 200 moving average. These are all loops, right? You guys can see the loops for yourself. It's pretty simple. But yeah, I mean, I meet with my group in the morning. I meet with them in the afternoon for beginners groups. I have office hours for anyone that needs help. After that, I have my nightly groups with them. I have free in person groups once a month, either in New York or Miami, that they can come to. Really, that anybody can come to. Um, and that's only $80 a month. Like, there for sure, there is no one that comes close to the value that we have. Also, we made there we go. There's your loop. Also, we just finished making Trader Daddy Pro. This tells you all of the breakouts that are currently happening based on all of the indicators that we have. So, and we just made an AI called the Trader Lady, and it goes through all of Trader Daddy Pro's data, which is all real time, all unusual whale trades, unusual flow activity, and then you can ask the trader lady to any questions and it'll go through all this data to find your answer for you. But it's always good to look at unusual whale trades because that's really a huge indication of what's about to come. You could see Microsoft right here, $3.6 million in calls. The one that I'm really looking at right now, um, sorry, I'm just reading some of your messages. Yeah, there's always another bus for sure. There's always another bus. Um, I'm looking at gold right now because you're going to see that we are a lot of sorry, let me go over here. Gold has a lot of unusual options flow this morning as well, and we're at a pretty good level, and we're in a big period of uncertainty. So you could see in the last 30 minutes, we've had about, just a lot of millions of dollars in gold come in, about 30 million. The whole day has been pretty much just a big flow of buying gold calls. Um, so now we're up about 3.8%, almost 4% on GLD is huge. So, you know, this might be something to add on to. I already have a gold call, but I might add on to this here. It's either going to be gold or silver. And then after that, we'll take a look at oil. But just like I was telling you guys, since let's say we go up to these moving averages, that's 12%, right? Actually, no. Let's say we go up 8.5% for GLD. All right, stay with me for a second. Let's say we do an April 17 for 450 call. Okay, that's $272 for that. Now, if we go up 8%, just like I said, we would be up about $900 profit. Okay, so you can make 900 profit, and that would be gold getting up about another 8%, and you have another couple of weeks for that to happen. Even if it goes up 5%, that's still a $423 of pure profit off of 272. So that looks pretty good. Also, silver looks pretty good as well. A lot of people were asking me last night, silver looks like it's going down. And I'm like, how do you see that? And then I realized that most people read the chart from left to right, where you're supposed to read it from right to left. So I get that. I'm starting to understand that most people look at a chart from left to right, but really, you look at current structure, which is right here, right? You can see about 3 times we've tried to go below this area and we haven't. And then when you look below it, look how many levels of buying support we have. We have like hundreds of levels of buying support. There's no way that we're just going to go through all of those. That's insane. So, you know, for it to be about 70 right now, it could definitely go up another 10 points to 80. And that might not seem like a lot, but again, if we go to SLV, we can do about an $80 call. That's only $62. If we go up 12% or so, that's $155 in profit, pure profit off of that $62. You get your $62 back, or you never lost it. It's just $62, and on top of that, another 158. And you could buy as many of these $62 contracts as you want. So I think silver is a good play here as well. Um, but yeah, for those of you that are in my group, I'm going to be going over the last 45 minutes of the market today, or last 30 minutes of the market. You know, it's a little bit more important than I'll just make my Instagram videos later tonight instead. Um, all right. Anything else you guys want to look at? Physical gold, yay or nay? I think physical gold's always good. It just depends. I mean, if that's something that's I don't to be honest, I don't really have much of an opinion on physical or not. Um, I for some reason though, I would rather do physical. You can own some physical gold. Um, I don't see the need of why you would need to have it unless or if you're buying jewelry, always buy gold jewelry. It's because if you're already spending the money on jewelry, you might as well just get the gold because it'll go up increasingly faster. But silver went up, pretty fast too. But it's easier to sell gold, you know, going back. Um, Silver would have to get over. I have this. Sorry, I have this feeling silver and gold do one more fake out. Yeah, maybe, but I don't know. I don't. It's possible. Silver would have to get over 74 to convince me. Played it today for a quick profit, but can see it hitting 72-ish. Also see I'm 50-50. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. So 74, right? Let's go down to a 4 hour, right? And there you go. That's why we're not above where we're supposed to be, right? Just changing one time frame will tell you everything. Your 50 moving average is really what's in the way of silver right now, right? You can see it for yourself. Like it's literally right here. It's actually been days since it's been above the 50 moving average. So, well, I think once we get above that, we're going to get to this level, which is the weekly 50 around 75. So I think you're right. Above 74, this level, we could then get up to about 80 something. So I definitely agree, for sure. What do you think the silver boom could be, I guess, could be like this after the war, especially with the COMEX issues with supply? It's a great question. Um, what could it be like after the war? I think China is going to keep restricting supply. I don't think people understand how much China's influence on the silver market really is. But as long as supply is restricted, silver will have to go up. But you're talking about the COMEX issues. I'm gonna have. I don't know if there's gonna be COMEX issues, but I understand because there's so much more paper than physical, right? So, well, we'll see. I don't think it's. I think overall silver is going to keep going up. I don't see it being a huge issue. um, or I don't see silver going back to the 50s or the 40s. And even if it did, whatever, you could just buy it again down there. Um, but I'm pretty sure even if I took off this indicator right here just to make it easier to see. Oh, sorry. Uh, right. Maybe that's easier for you guys. But you could see the levels here are pretty good. So, um, and this last year was great. Every single breakout was we played every single one of these. But I want to show you something interesting with silver, right? um Last year the institutions stopped buying at 58 or 60. Okay, well, let me go to spot price just to make it easier for you guys to see. The institutions stopped buying at around 60. That's right here. So that means that all of this was retail buying. That was the silver hype for 2 months straight. So when it came back down, where did you think it was going to go? Right back to where institutions started buying it again, right at around that 60 level. So that's why these order indicators of buying pressure and selling pressure are so vital, because it literally tells you when big money is historically buying and selling anything on any time frame, on anything, any of these uh, commodities or stocks. Or okay, to me it starts looking at the double top on silver for sure. Understood. um yeah, over here. um or the double bottom, yeah, right. Understood, right. What Irene is talking about here, and then here. And then that should be really solid support. Also, look how many, we have the 200 moving average here. We have all of these green levels of buying. You know, we should be able to go up at least to these moving averages here. So, um, yeah. So I agree. I think it's a pretty good play, especially the risk reward, right? Just to go back and show you guys again. $62 I have for the $80 calls for April. That's too soon. Let's go for May, right? Let's give ourselves some time. Okay. You could do an $80 call for $200, 218. If we get up to, let's say, 73, that would be $300 of just of profit, pure profit. So that's not a bad, that's not bad at all. You know, that's about 150%, 136% profit. It's not bad at all. Do you think Trump have created that silver gold manipulation to protect those big companies who stopped buying at 58? I don't think so. I don't know. I I think Trump protects oil more than gold and silver, but I think he's more focused. I don't know. It's a good question, actually. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's a. You have to remember that the Treasury lobby and the Commerce lobby from the Treasury Secretary and the Commerce Secretary comes from all of the funds. I'm sorry, all of the major big banks. Also, you could see for yourself right now, SPY is starting to come back down 638 right here. So very, very interesting. Oh, wow. Let's see if we break here, guys. And I just want to check the Trader Daddy Pro GEX wall. Ooh, we're right at it right now. You could see right here. So if this breaks, it'll be very interesting. I think if this breaks, we could definitely go down to 630 something. Um, but I would rather put in a trade for IWM because I think it would go down more. Here's IWM. Let's get rid of all of these drawings so I could see better. Oops, don't want all of them gone. All these loops going down. It looks like this is going to go down further, IWM. These are the small cap stocks. Um, what I track COT reports on all commodities. Silver has a good position in commercials. Yeah, I agree with you. I think I might take out another silver call today. Um, that makes sense. I think I'm gonna double down on silver. What tool? How do you see the big institutions? Yeah, so this is the Trader Daddy. It's the Trader Daddy indicator system. We made this. Uh, you get to see all of the buying pressure and selling pressure on any time frame for anything. It also tells you like the number that came in. Um, we also took this as a momentum indicator. We took the top 10 most popular momentum oscillators and coded it into one. So whenever you see it move from green to blue to pink moving down, you see it moving um, you know, down if there's selling pressure, like a big red selling pressure rectangle here, that would be another confluence for it to go down. And if there's red volume, then also you can see it going down as well. So all three of those together. So it's only I think it's like $6 a month. It's traderdaddyindicator.com. So I could type that in. Trader indicator.com, and then we'll send it to you, or you guys could message me, um because usually these things cost like $60 or something, so we made it 6. And it's the same thing for Trader Daddy Pro, like all of this unusual flow data that you get like up to the second, that's usually like 80 to $100 on Cheddar Flow or Bookmap or Unusual Whales. So now we put it into two tiers. There's the $19 one or the $34 one. So we basically undercut them by like 70%. And also it's way more advanced. So like I could find exactly the options I want to trade, let's say on Nvidia, just by how green some of these bubbles are. So we've made it much more appealing, much better than anything that those other three companies could make. Um, if you go to my Instagram story, I put the link of a recording that I made explaining all of this yesterday. So if you go on my Instagram story, you'll actually see the link to the recording, and you can sit there and me and one of my instructors who also made this, we go through all of it. So if that's something you're interested in, but the indicators are only $6, and I don't think we've out of 200, out of 230 people, we've only had one person um, cancel it. And then we figured out that he never used it. So people really like the indicators. I think everyone in my group already uses these anyway, but it helps so much more because then you're just guessing where these levels are. Um, all right, let's take a look and see what else is going on. Halliburton is now up almost 4%. Wow, that's crazy. This really is. Let's check on ExxonMobil. It's just about finding. Yeah, see, that's what happens. You draw one of these extension lines on top of a trending asset, and then if it breaks, there's your break right here. So I'm glad that these are still going up. Here was the Maduro thing, 124. We're now at 170. But here's an interesting fact, right? If you take away anything from this, remember this. Through all the years of being a financial advisor, one thing I always found to be absolutely remarkable, like to a T every year, no matter what, even last year too, whatever the trending industry is in January and February will become the trending industry for the entire year. Like if you look at the top three trending industries or trending sectors, they will trend for the entire year that year because money that starts to cycle into it over the span of a year. So January and February is where I get really excited because then oh, okay, well, now it's oil this year. Last year it was still tech, it was still AI, it was still AI robotics. Also, this year was space too, but because the market started to go down, the space stocks also started to get overextended. But also, energy is doing pretty well. But since the market is going down, still energy's having difficulty. But you can see energy's coming back now, even in a down market. The energy sector itself is up about 1.3%. Um, let's check some of the military ETFs. SHLD. Oh, wow. We're right at support again for this. This is military technology. So that might be bad here. I'm going to see what happens. We have a really good lot of buying pressure right here. So I'm going to see Shield at 70 might be pretty good to buy. Also, what is it? ITA, Aerospace and Defense. I know a lot of you guys like this one, but it seems like we're going a lot lower with it. But military has been going up for about 6 months, right? I mean, look at this. So this is just a general pullback. Yeah. Amazing work. Shame that even if I bought it, I wouldn't know how to use it, take advantage of it. Any tips of where to start? Yeah, I mean, I have a great beginners group. We, like I said, I'm, I basically have been taking beginners and turning them into advanced traders, like my whole career. Um, I feel like when people tell me something like, "Oh, I'll just read a book and figure it out," I feel bad for them because they're just going to waste more time and go backwards. It's a trial by error science. It's a soft science. It's not a hard science like physics. It's a soft science. It's something that it's like learning how to swim. You kind of have to like do some uncomfortable things a little bit, but it's not as hard as people make it out to be. And that's why I'm on Zoom with them like 3 times a day every day for who, because I know people are busy, right? You might not be able to make the morning one. You might not be able to make the beginners group, but maybe you could make the night group. Yeah, I teach all of them. So, and then you also get a one-on-one beginners instructor for no extra cost. Um, so Irina will work with you one-on-one until you're all set up with everything. Because I know setting up for people for some reason is really hard for them. But I do think that the way I do it, um, the evidence is really clear. Um, all right, let's take a look at RR, and it's only $80 a month. Like 90 something, 95% of people always sign up for a second and third month. But don't go to my website to sign up because that's the $99 link. Like message me for the $80 one. Do you trade NQ or futures? Sometimes, but we're starting to trade more futures in my group. It's just that for beginners to make money on a consistent basis, stocks and options, they're able to make money more consistently faster with their own money. You know what I mean? And now there are some times that we're taking some futures trades. The goal is to be able to trade all markets, right? But, if I want to trade NQ, I would just buy an option on QQQ, which would be the same thing. Um, but I don't like staring at the charts for little future trades. I like putting in my charts and doing other things in my day. To sit there and have to stare, like, oh, we're kind of breaking right now, actually. Oh, here's a break on QQQ. Look at that, guys. But we are doing more futures trades. The goal is to learn all markets, but it's just that like out of the 14 years of, no, more than that. Yeah, about 14 years I've been doing this. It's just the percentage of people that make money, like real money consistently, is just overwhelmingly stocks and options. That's like an overwhelming thing. But what I have seen though is that if you're like a content creator and you want to sell stuff to people, that futures is much easier to do it. You show people really fast trades and then you're like, hey, I'll show you how to do really fast trades. And then, I don't know, a lot of it's a marketing ploy. Also, the whole prop firm thing is a little deceptive to me. You have to follow someone else's rules. That doesn't make any sense. Do they teach you how to trade? Do they teach Do they teach how to trade options? Yeah, of course. That's yeah, of course we teach how to trade options. I don't know what else we would do. That's like the whole thing is teaching you. The beginners groups especially is mostly charting and options. But every Zoom I'm on, like right now it's a halftime show. So I'm just going through things fast, right? But the Zooms, I slow it way down and I only go forward if everybody there is on the same page. If not, we go back and do it again and do it again and do it again until everyone is with me. Right now I'm going fast because, again, I have to cover a lot of things and I'm just this is just a quick thing just to show you guys, but yeah, I'm not sure what else I would be doing. Of course, I teach it. Um, so, um, but yeah, we're gonna see if this pushes down from this level here. It'll be quite interesting to see. And out of just a cross reference, we can go to NQ just to see if it. Let's see, where was 9:30 today? Here's 9:30. Here's 9:45. We're still we're still in here for we're still going sideways for the futures part of this. And then if you go to, let's go back to IWM. Yeah, we're still going sideways here too. So we're not breaking any levels yet First two 15-minute candles, remember. There we go. But yesterday at 1 o'clock, we went down pretty quickly. So that's why I'm kind of interested at 12:45, I guess. Are we going to go down right now? SPY's the only one that's starting to dip below, but none of the other ones are. So we'll take a look. It's not a huge. We need like a big breakout. That's not happening right now. No deal on Iran, so oil is spiking. Yeah, it makes sense. To be honest, I didn't even cover oil today, right now, but yeah. So USO is close to 122. Oh wow, that's going to be awesome because remember this line right here, this blue line is the 2018 resistance line. So USO, whenever it gets to this line, it goes right back down. So just to show you guys something interesting, let's say you get a USO, if you bet oil down, right? To bet oil down, you could buy a put on it. And again, I know I'm going fast, and a lot of you probably don't know what I'm talking about, but that's why in my group I go super slow so everybody can understand exactly what we're doing and why we're doing it. I also record everything and send and it comes with notes, and I send you those things afterwards for every Zoom that I do during the day, so you can choose which ones you want to go to. But let's do October for USO for oil, just to show you how much you could make. Sorry, USO. Should we get out of oil stocks before the war ends? I think oil, I mean, I don't know. The oil, who do you think is going to be rebuilding all of these oil infrastructure places? I mean, Halliburton basically built the oil infrastructure of Iraq, in Iraq. Like, it's just the same thing. Like, oil companies are good at building infrastructure. They build entire ecosystems of oil flow. Anyways, let's say we do an October 90 put. Okay, that's $500. How much money can you make if oil goes down about 35%? You would make 251% or $1,366. You could also do an 80 put for $300. That's not a bad deal. $300 for October. If oil drops about 30 something percent, that would be $900 in profit, pure profit. Or about 300 something percent. I kind of want oil to go higher because then playing it back down will be that much easier, right? Oil has always gone back down to the breakout area it broke out originally from, which was right here. And to show you on a chart, this is 200 days worth back down. So all we need is oil to come back down at some point between now and like September. So at some point it will. Oil always drops back down. Oil can't operate above $93 a barrel. The whole all 11 or 12 US sectors fail or start to fail if it's above 93. And right now we are above we're at 98. So I don't I'd love this to go higher though cuz it'll be so much easier to play back down again. Just like we were talking about with Meta. I'd love Meta to go down even further cuz then it would be easier to play back up again. Um, any other questions about anything else? Also, remember, you guys can always just message me directly. I get back to everybody like almost instantly. I my entire day is just helping people, looking at charts and helping people with whatever issues they have. You know, so I like to meet people one on one, talk to them, see what their issues are. It's been my career for since I was out of college. So, you know, it's nothing really that new. But I like to teach people new things because then it's like learning to swim. Like once you know it, nobody can ever take that away from you. That's what I never really understood was like once you know how to do it, it's a learned skill. Once you know how to do it, you can then do this for the rest of your life. The one thing I will be real with people when people ask me like this is actually a really good area for Tesla, but when people are like, oh, can I be a professional trader? And I'm like, I don't know. Can you be a professional golfer? Like I have no idea how to answer that, you know? Can you be a professional race car driver? Like I don't know. Like it's weird. It's not you know what? It's not weird to me anymore. It's just that I think the marketing part of trading has gotten so out of hand by Gen Z that people literally just assume that that's what's going to happen. And then I rationalize with them. I'm like, think about what you're saying out loud. You're saying you want to just snap your fingers and become a professional trader, you know? And they're like, I'll do whatever it takes. And I'm like, great, become a professional golfer and do whatever it takes to do that. Become a professional electrician and do that. Like you're going into an industry where it is never guaranteed. You could have the highest probability setups in the world and sometimes they still fail. You could have a month. I mean, we had somebody in our group that did this VCX trade that made 4,000 into 112,000. Bought it down here and sold it up here. It was a quick trade, but or it had it pre-IPO too. But the next 3 months, might not yield anything. So sometimes you have really, really good months and other months that aren't that good. But the cool thing is that once you become a little bit more consistent with things, patient with things, it's an extra added skill set where you could take advantage of things at different levels and life starts to become a whole lot easier to plan around what you want to do financially instead of just being scared of it, you know? Can you run over the oil futures again? What about, sorry, hold on a second. I think I'm missing some things. USAR, is it a good bet now? Let's take a look. I mean, again, I'm not going to buy anything that's currently falling, but I do like the fact that USAR has had one big cycle, a second big cycle. We tried a third one here, but it didn't work. Um, I would definitely wait for my momentum indicator to move below and back up again for me to attempt it. The next level of institutional buying is at 1450. I'm going to see how it reacts around there. What was the next one? Oil futures. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I just went over this though, like for about 10 minutes. Um, I'm just waiting for it to go higher to play it back down again. And again, if I bought an October put, an 80 put, that's about $300. And if it goes down about 30%, I would make 300%. If you what I find interesting is when people say that options seem so hard, but if you've ever bought like shares of a stock, you can buy an option contract. It's there is no like physical difference of difficulty. You know what I mean? You're just buying it, and then you can sell it whenever you want. You can sell it the second after you buy it. Doesn't have to get to any special levels. So as long as it goes down, on a put side, you'll make money. As long as it goes up on the call side, you'll make money. Um, okay. IRDM. Also, you guys can look back on my YouTube page. These are all recorded and put into the live sections on my YouTube. So you can always go back and rewatch this whole thing. But I want you guys to just know something. I'm going really fast right now because I don't have a lot of time to cover a lot of things. Like, at least in my group, I slow it down to teach everyone what is going on and why we're looking at this, what the next thing to look at, and is everybody on the same page? Especially in my beginners groups, I need a yes from everyone before I move forward with something. It's not one of those things where you could like, be paying like 10% attention to. Like, I need everyone to be like, yes, I see what you're doing. It makes sense for me to like go forward with it. Um, but then again, some people just like listening to my voice and for the entertainment value of it for whatever reason. So I don't know. I don't know what this is. Iridium communications. This looks interesting. I just don't know what it is. I don't know. But I do like the fact that it retraced a little bit, at least to this, you know, order flow block of it's cool that I can see, the institutional orders that are coming in. So that's quite interesting. I just want to check on gold again. I probably might buy this at end of day or silver end of day. Cat, yeah. Just out of curiosity, I also want to look at deer. It's a similar chart. I don't see anything wrong with this, but it did go up a lot in the last year. It went from 270 to 700. They're probably going to get contracts to build more things. I mean, once Trump was elected, you could see, yeah, I mean, we went from like 200 to 700. Geo Group makes the private prisons. Still not going up. I guess it didn't work out. All right. Let's see what's going on here. Amazon. Ooh, Amazon's about to hit a good level here. Back down to 200. I think 180 to 200 is going to be amazing for Amazon. I'm going to take off all these drawings. Watch. Watch, watch, watch. See? Now, 180 to 200 is going to be pretty good for Amazon here because you have all these levels of buying under it, all this buying pressure. So, any level around 200 is going to be great. Also, if you take a look at, we're about 23% discount. I still think Meta at a 60% discount is going to be the best. That reminds me of 2022. If it gets down to this level of 487, oh man, that's going to be great. That's why it's good to be in cash right now. I've always realized the people that make the most money every single year are not necessarily the best traders, like skills wise. They're always the people that had cash available at the right times. And you never really know when the right times are, but there's cycles. Right now, we're going through an oil cycle. Oil stocks are going up. Last year, when rates were cut, bank stocks went up. And then before that, it was, stocks like Nvidia and Google and Amazon that went up. So everything runs in cycles. There's going to be another cycle soon, and you'll be there to catch it, or at least I'll be there to catch it. My group will be there to catch it. Um, it I think what happens is a lot of people take like 2 or 3 months off from looking at the stock market sometimes, and that's brutal to me because sometimes like the easiest things happen during those times. How many times have you ever looked at a chart and you're like, "Oh wow, like if I had just done what I thought this was going to do, like Netflix at 70 was easy, we played that back up. It wasn't like Netflix was going to go to zero. Um, and now this actually looks really good. We get above this 20 moving average, we're going to go straight back up again. Everything looks pretty good here. Let me just check Trader Daddy Pro real quick, see if there's anything else top plays wise. Cisco is also breaking out in BJ's Wholesale, Verizon also. And then on the way down, Uber, Ondas. Man, people are getting screwed with Ondas. That's the first ones to go down. That's why I drew this line here, because if it dropped below it, I knew it would go down quick. All the selling pressure right here, too, with it. I mean, if it gets to 8 something, then maybe. The amount of people asking me about Ondas is unbelievable. It just shows you, too, that if you get enough people to talk about one stock on social media, people will just buy it for the hell of it. You know, I mean, I like for fun stocks, I'm not going to say that like RR worked out for me last year really, really well, and then I played it again this year and it didn't work out. Not everything's going to work out, and that's okay. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say every single thing works out all the time. But to me, I'm not buying it's like when people ask me about Path, like UiPath. Why am I buying a really volatile software stock when the market is going down? You know, I'd rather just be in cash, wait for Meta to drop, and then just buy it at its low. But what's interesting though, real quick about software, is that check this support out. Sorry, IGV. And any other things you guys want me to look at? I'm going to be going off pretty soon. Look at the support level for software. This is the software sector. See anything interesting here? One, two, three, four. It's its fifth time back at this level, right? Now, if you say, well, what's in this? What is IGV? You can go on TradingView down to more about fund. Palantir, Microsoft, Oracle, Salesforce, Palo Alto, Intuit, AppLovin, So I would just go through these and pick out my favorites like Palantir or Microsoft or, Oracle or, you know, I don't really know a lot of these other ones. Fortinet. I don't think Adobe is going to work out. Salesforce isn't going to work out. Yeah. So I would just pick the ones I think are the strongest out of all of them. Let's check on Microsoft. I think is still falling here. Yeah, about another 1% to go before we get to our main support. God, we really went down fast. And that's why I wasn't gonna buy it at 380. No, no, no. Gotta wait to the next level always. But energy and oil are still going up, so that's a win. We'll take that. Remember, we're always cycling in to the next thing. So eventually, I think oil and energy will keep going up for the entire year, but there's about to be something else that's about to cycle in pretty soon, you know? And most of trading is just getting on the next cycle, whatever that is. It might be software that comes back. Again, you could see one, two, three, four, 5 times this hits the same support over the last 3 years and comes back up. So pretty soon, one of these is really going to hit. Also, this is interesting. NVTS is back at the 200 moving average, which is super easy because, you can count just by looking at it. Um, every time it pops off this 200 moving average recently, one, two, three, four, five, we're back down a sixth time. So, but again, I'm not looking to buy too many things that are going up at the moment. Micron might be the only thing. People are still paying a lot of money for RAM, for AI, so this does look pretty interesting. This is one, two, three, fourth time at support. So at some point, this will probably come back up again. And we have all these levels of buying pressure right here under it. These are all big institutional buying. So We'll see. No one else has any questions about anything? We're all good then? All right. Sounds good. If you want to reach out to me about anything, again, consider joining the premium group for $80 a month. I'm on Zoom, 2 to 3 times a day with that group. I go over things really slowly, really comprehensively, record everything, give them a ton of notes, interact with them all throughout the day. Everybody gets my cell phone number. I have in-person groups, for no extra cost. I do one-on-ones with people for no extra cost. Um, it's by far the most value you would ever find anywhere else by a long shot. Um, so I'm comfortable saying that because I've never found anything else that is even close. Even AI, when you ask Grok, like it says the same thing, that it's by far the most valuable. Um, can you send the $80 a month group to me, please? Yeah, I mean, just DM me. I can't do it on my desktop thing right now. I have to do it through my phone. But if you DM me, I'll send it to you right away. Um, or if you like this message, you can. No, I'm sorry. Just message me. Message me on Instagram, and I'll send it to you. Because if you go to my website, that's the $99 one. So, but I want the people that come to these lives and actually make the effort to get the $80 one, so that you'll always be in on the $80 one. Because at some point, obviously, I'm going to raise the price because I'm. It's like if you have a restaurant and you have the best restaurant, you're not going to sell your food for half the cost. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I hope it does. You know. Um, and again, you get my cell phone number and you can message me like anytime that I'm awake, like during the day, and I get back to you for anything. So you guys will learn a lot. It's worth it. I put a lot of heart, a lot of passion and everything into this. Um, I really try to do it the right way. Um, but yeah, just message me, and yeah, I'll send you the links to whatever you need. All right, guys, I gotta roll. I'll be back here tomorrow, hopefully. It's the weekend, so maybe I might do one at night. But usually here, I'm here during the week at noon. So for around this time, take care. And yeah, a third of my group is from Canada. Literally, a third of my group is from Canada. I have my own little Canadian group, like from the Trader Daddy group that I put people in, just so they can all meet each other. So no, it's definitely I have more people from Canada than anywhere else by far. And from the UK, it's an international group actually. So it's quite interesting. Yeah, so a third of my group is from Canada. It's actually, yeah, even more interesting, the Toronto area. So, um yeah. All right, guys. Have a good rest of your day, and I will see you all this weekend. Take care. Bye bye. Discard.